Today I'm making a beat like DP beats, and you guys know I just use techniques that I hear in each artist's songs, and then I try to recreate those techniques, and hopefully it comes out like them. But first of all, I always like to start with the chords, and for this I had this other idea, but I went ahead and put it in my library. So down here you can see this little chord progression, but right now I'm using Omnisphere for my instrument, and I have this retrospective piano, and it's part of the default library, so I'm just gonna use that. And I already have something laid out. I know what I'm gonna play, but what I've noticed is that typically his chords will be landing on the quarter notes. Like, it'll just be very rhythmic, like very consistent sounding. So it's not just long extended chords like that. It's more of a kind of stuff like that, more on the notes, you know, sorry, on the quarter notes. And right off the bat I gotta lower my volume, so alright, so we have something right there. Always some mistakes when you quantize stuff, because it doesn't really know exactly where you want it. So, but notice how it lands on every major line, so whenever the colors switch, again I gotta fix this. And we're gonna make a variation. Oops, we're gonna make a variation of this. And what I want to do is at the end I want to change just the ending so that it's flipped. So so take this note and then bring it down like that. And that's gonna be the second part. Alright, so we already have that, and these are our chords. What we can do is just add more layers to this and maybe a different rhythm. So obviously I like to cut forward because I don't want to just have a bunch of clips of me just browsing. So if this takes too long, I'm just gonna skip forward. But we're just gonna look at different sounds that we could possibly use. Okay, so right off the bat we have this sound, and I'm just gonna use this to complement what we have already. So it's gonna be pretty simple. So very simple. We can drag this over here. So as you can tell, I just re-recorded over that same part, but what I re-recorded can just be, or what I previously recorded. So what I did right there is I let it run 2 times under this loop. So right here we have this loop, and then I just recorded 2 different ideas. And what I like doing is just having 2 different ideas and then just dragging it out, and they'll both be recorded in 1 take. So it's kind of useful to do that. But now, as usual, I like to quantize it by hitting Command U, and I think everything should be on point right now. So, okay, now something that you'll hear a lot is piano in his tracks, and I'm not sure if I want to use Omnisphere or just use the built-in piano in Ableton and add some reverb and stuff, but I guess I'll do that. I don't want to use the same plugin like the whole time, and we're definitely going to use different sounds than, or sorry, different plugins in this tutorial. But for this next sound, I'm going to use the Ableton grand piano, if I can find that. I think I'm skipping over E, F, G. Alright, there we go. Now it's always quiet for some reason. So what I'm going to do is turn it up down here and then use the volume right here to bring it up. Alright, now what we can do, I mean, we don't want to get too into the mixing process or too into the sound design process, but we can add reverb. And make it way more ambient sounding. So you'll hear some very repetitive patterns with DP beats or DP on the beat. So again, stay on the lines. We could do something like that, I guess, but so right now I'm doing all this by ear, you know. I kind of have a understanding of what would sound good next in my head, and then I just bring it into the song. Alright, so now we're gonna go a little bit different right here in this part. Alright, we're not gonna do that note. Maybe something like that. Alright, so very DP sounding. I'm already feeling this one, and I think it's gonna be good. Now, as usual with these tutorials, I only put out quality content. So in these kind of beat type tutorials where it's a producer that's a beat maker, I only put out content where I think the beat would actually sell. So I'll also have the link to this beat in the description, and if it doesn't turn out good, then you're not gonna see this video, and if it did turn out good, then you can trust me because you're actually watching this video and I decided that it was good enough to sell and it's gonna be a good product. So and if it doesn't turn out good, starting over and But I mean, if you're watching this, then it turned out well. So I wanted to use silent just to switch it up, and I feel like it has better, it's just easier to browse around when you're looking for sounds that are more lead type or key type than an Omnisphere. Omnisphere is better for more complex sounds or for just setting the foundation most of the time. So let's go ahead and come up with an idea, you know, another melodic idea. Alright, I might come back if this takes too long. I added this weird kind of pad sound. It's called a lead, but it sounds like a pad to me. Oh, I guess it is a lead. It sounds pretty good as a lead too. I actually want to use this as a lead, so what I'm gonna do is actually come back with a different sound real quick. I'll replace that pad with, and I'll be back. Or that sound that was this sound right here. I replaced it with this one. And right now we're just gonna use this sound right here as a lead. And a lead is just a note. It's like a single kind of note at a time type of melody. And I'm gonna do something a little bit weird. It's not gonna be as complex. It's just gonna be very repetitive. Not repetitive, but it's gonna be not as complex, I guess. Alright, so right there it kind of deleted that note that we had right there, but I guess we can just draw it in. And we're just gonna quantize this. You can even go lower than this. And then on the next one we'll make it high. And eventually we can add some variation to this, but I think this is good. It's kind of loud, so I'm gonna lower it down even more to like -10. I'm gonna add a filter to this or something just to cut out that high end because it's super high and I don't want it to be obnoxious. And at this point we can add the 808. So this is the lead and this is going to be kind of the stabs, I guess. And let's go ahead and add this 808. So I have this 808 Essentials kit, and really DP Beats, I know he uses just 808 samples, so, or at least most of the time. So I'm just gonna use one of the 808s that I have. Something that sounds the most like him. That one sounds a lot like DP. Yeah, I'm thinking that one. So if you are using FL Studio, you can get these as wave samples, and it's from my 808 Essentials pack. I'll have the link in the description, but basically it's 45 different 808s, and I did this free update adding 15 more, so 30 plus 15 is 45. Just quality 808s. You won't find them anywhere else. They're all kind of mixed down, and they're all tuned, so they're automatically tuned. You don't have to do that. But for Ableton users, I have the racks, and basically those are just samplers where you can have it automatically loaded, and you can hold the 808s for as long as you want. So I think it was the Desert one it was called. And I want to turn up the volume on this. I always like to have the 808 louder than everything else. Now, something that I noticed about his 808s is that there's always a little bit of attack. They never kick really, and he adds his own separate kick to it. So at least that's what I think when I hear it. So something like that, maybe 38. So sometimes you'll hear the 808 playing by itself, and then all of a sudden his kick will come in. So a big part of his style. So we have this 808 picked out. But as well, I have this drum rack right here, so we're going to start getting on some drums. And I'm just going to use the premium trap essentials kit that I have as well, because it just has most of the trap snares. And right here I have one of his iconic snares, DP snare. And it's more of a trap roll snare, so I'm going to choose one that's actually going to work out. So I'm gonna be back. I'm actually gonna choose a few sounds because I don't want to take forever with this. I actually moved up all these chords, all these notes up by 3, because I just felt like it's just a better note for the 808 than just C. So these chords actually were on C, so 1 2 3, they were on C, and I moved them up 1 2 3, and I actually moved up all the instruments. So when you do something like that, you got to make sure all the instruments stay in scale. And one of the cool things about a scale is that you can just move it up. You can move everything up and it'll stay in harmony. So I felt it just sounded better with the 808 when I was experimenting, but I added some stuff. We have this low hi-hat, and then an even low. I think I'm playing an octave lower than it should be. So that's the hi-hat. That's the second one. And we have an open hi-hat, of course. And then with the drums, I think so we have a rolling one for rolling. We have a clap and then another clap, and with the claps we're gonna layer them. But what I like to do is alternate them sometimes. So I might add my own influence to this, but and then we're gonna add that trap clap right here and actually layer these. And with this bamboo one right here that I called the bamboo clap, I'm just gonna fade it in a little bit, so it's gonna be a little bit delayed. And of course we need to have that classic trap placement. Alright, there we go. Now let's work on this 808 pattern. So again, I don't think he really plays in the notes, but I like to play things in just because I'm just used to getting my ideas out this way, and I think Ableton works well when you're recording stuff. And it's not that you can't draw things in, but I just have gotten used to playing stuff. Alright, so right there I forgot to switch this, so I gotta make sure to move this up. Let's try something like that. Again, quantize all these things. So I think that makes sense. Let's move this up one more. And something you'll notice as well is that he'll do these really fast rolls with the 808s. And he usually doesn't do it with the kick. He'll just have the 808 roll really fast. But for now I just want to layer the kick in. And we're just going to get something simple. Something that's hard but simple. So I feel like the original kick is gonna have the most, is gonna fit the best for this style. And I'm just gonna draw in the same pattern that we have with the 808. So never mind, I think he does actually have the kick rolls and stuff as well. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is add some more, I don't know, rolls to this pattern and stuff so that it sounds more hyped up and like better, and I'll be right back. I come up with a better 808 pattern, and what I realized is that one of these notes was off, and when I put it at C it actually should be at an A sharp, so I moved that down, and I came up with a more complicated pattern like I said, so I'm just gonna drag this in just so we can hear it. So just more kind of rolls, and then this one has even more, I think. Or it's kind of the same, but it just has a different ending. And then we have the basic one right here. Now for the hi-hats, what I like to do is really match the hi-hats to a certain drum sound. So either line it up according to the snare or to the kick. And so right now I'm just gonna get the kick pattern and paste it on the hi-hat number 1 right here, and it's gonna play over the hi-hat, over the kick. And what I'm gonna do is every time that kick hits, I'm gonna do a little roll. we're getting kind of like a basic idea right now. So as you can tell, everything has a purpose, so everything is intentional. So the hi-hats aren't just random, they're lined up to the kick right now, and it creates a nice rhythm. It's not just random rolls everywhere. So if you have trouble with that, then try to line it up to an instrument that's already in your song. And now we can do even more complicated stuff. I have a second hi-hat just in case we want to get those lower rolls, but what we can do is always just pitch this downwards. But for these ones, I'm just going to keep them at the same pitch. Now we can add more complicated stuff. Let me duplicate this and then work on this one. So lower ones this time. We may not even need the lower hi-hat. So already getting that DP effect. Now we're going to duplicate both of these just to have copies, and we're just going to take this even further. We're going to go ahead and start rolling these a little bit. I actually liked it better when it was just two right here, but maybe right here. Okay, actually don't like that on those kind of notes. Let's go ahead and see what it would sound like right there. It has to be very intentional, I guess, like very spread out in this particular case. For this song, I think it's gonna be better if we spread it out. So right now I'm going on the second hi-hat. Maybe do a roll right there. And what we can do is work with the velocity. So right now I'm holding command, and those little dots that you see down there, those little lines, those are the velocity. So right now it's going to slowly build up at the end. Try this curve right here. And let's move this up a little bit because it's already a low one, so we can just bring it back to its normal height, I guess. And right here we can have kind of a roll going downwards like this. Alright, so everything sounds good. Again, right here, let's go ahead and do just something to make it more upbeat. Now right away what I can do is just add an eighth note to every slot, and it's just gonna give it that sense of consistency and just add more kind of rhythm to it, I guess. It's gonna like make it sound more upbeat when you just fill in all those slots. So again, I don't know how to describe it, but you can hear that it sounds just more upbeat because everything is constantly being played. So when you do this with any instrument, it's gonna make everything just feel more hype. Like when you fill up more quarter notes or eighth notes. So even with the chords, it sounds a lot more hype than if we had like just extended each one. But that's just a technique, and it's used on like kind of the second part of the chorus usually, or some part where you want to add more hype to the song, I guess. Now we're missing one thing, which is the snare rolls. And actually I made the mistake of putting this in a drum rack, but what I want to go ahead and do is have this be, let me get this. I want to show it in the browser, and I want to have this be able to be pitched down and stuff. So I'm going to open it in a sampler. So this kind of stuff, I'm just gonna do it off camera because it's just a lot of trial and error, and I'll just show you what I did. Basically laid out the last kind of, I forgot what I was going to do in the last clip, but oh yeah, it was the snares, and I laid out 3 different patterns. So this is the least complicated one, then this one, and then this is the last kind of one. And we could just go ahead and listen. And as well, I added a trumpet, and it's basically the same chords as this, except they're extended and it's a trumpet form. And in your beats, it's just a good idea to switch up the instruments for different parts, because different sounds have different emotions that come with them and different energy to them. So that's what I kind of did with the trumpet, and I muted it for now, but when we arrange it, it's gonna make more sense. And let me turn on my volume. So I just soloed that. And as well right here, you can hear this hi-hat that I added, this open hi-hat. And there's 2 patterns. There's a less complicated one, which I can bring in right here. And then there's the complicated one that you were just listening to. But at this point, it's time that we arrange this song, and then we can go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and mix it and maybe add some more effects to different instruments, or add some little background sounds, and then play the final product. But really, arrangement, I can just do that real quick on camera. It's not that complicated. It's really spreading out what we have, and in FL Studio you guys have it easy. For those of you that do use FL Studio, you guys have the loop kind of thing going on, where you guys have this one big loop pattern and then you guys spread it out over the playlist. But in Ableton, again, you can do the similar type of thing with the loop and then spread out what's under the loop to your whole arrangement. So obviously we're gonna have the piano playing the whole time, really. And I'll actually have a switch up for the instrument on the piano, but I'm not sure what instrument yet. But there's gonna be a different instrument than that at a certain part, because like I said, different instruments have different emotions to them. Alright, now obviously the 808 is gonna be later on in the song, and these trumpets are gonna be where the more complicated 808 is. And this piano, I'm gonna raise it up an octave, so that's 12 steps. And if you know anything about music theory, you know that an octave is basically starting over with the same notes, but it's at a higher pitch. It's just the higher pitch of the same notes. So it's gonna still be in scale. Let's see, where's that lead? I'm gonna add it for this whole song. And I'm gonna bring it down an octave at that second part. And we're gonna hear what we have so far. Okay, obviously this hi-hat pattern, again, we're gonna have to arrange it ourselves. I'll just add it right here. This pad right here, we're gonna turn it off. And obviously this open hi-hat is gonna be over here. All right. Copy this right here. And then where's this kick? Right here. Alright. Where's the chords? Right here. I want to bring in this smooth pad somewhere else. Let's bring this down. Alright, and I'm gonna do the rest of the arrangement off camera, do some mixing, change up some instruments, and then play the final product. And if you learned something from this video, I would definitely appreciate a like and a subscription. Definitely consider subscribing if you like this content, because I'm trying to put out more of these videos all the time, and I do take suggestions, so go ahead and leave those below. And pretty soon I'm gonna have a vote on Twitter about who's next for the regular kind of selection type producers, and kind of more R&B and soul and jazzy type gospel producers. So go ahead and follow me on Twitter if that's something that interests you. But I'm just trying to put out this video in between because beat producers are a little bit more easy to recreate. But again, leave a like if you enjoyed or learned something, share the video, and I'll see you guys next time.